President Donald Trump sat down for another interview with Fox News, a town hall, in fact, leading up to the 2024 election, where you won't want to miss what he had to say about President Joe Biden.
Democratic voices like Maureen Dowd and David Axelrod and Van Jones and others are so critical of Joe Biden. And, of course, he is struggling cognitively. I can't think of, in the last couple of months, any appearance that he has had where he wasn't either mumbling or bumbling or stumbling or having no clue where to go, where to exit. Now, my question is, do you think in 11 months he will be their candidate?
I personally don't think he makes it. Okay, I haven't said that. I'm saving it for this big town hall. I personally don't think he makes it. I think he's in bad shape physically. Do you remember when he said, I'd like to take him behind the barn? If he took me behind the barn and I went like this, I believe he'd fall over.
Later, the former president answered to speculation he could become a dictator if reelected.
You're promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's
drill,
not
drill.
That's not.
No.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be. You know, he keeps. We love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No. Other than day one, we're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator."
I love these interviews where Hannity is always trying to guide Trump like a ferryman down the river, the direction that Hannity wants Trump to go, and Trump just utterly refuses to play ball. You wouldn't be a dictator, would you? Oh, I would absolutely be a dictator. Now, it sounds like there was a bit of a misunderstanding. Hannity wanted Trump to reassure people that he was not going to engage in abject retribution against the people who have come for him, and Trump appeared to say yes, he would, but then the examples he had of being a dictator was he's going to do executive orders relating to the border and energy stuff, which is not I'm sure you oppose, but is not the kind of dictatorial political retribution that Hannity was worried about.
Look, Hannity's questions give you some sense of where establishment Republicans are at. Presidents don't go after other presidents because the rule is that they're all a big club, none of us are in it, and they protect each other at the end of the day. I do wonder sometimes if some of the frustration about Trump's indictments is because it is a really unprecedented violation of that rule. Now, my argument would be that the rule should be violated a lot more often and that we should be going after presidents and leaders for much more substantive things all the time. But it is interesting to see that Donald Trump, at least rhetorically in that moment, declined to even give Hannity the satisfaction of saying, I'm not going to be a dictator in that way.
It speaks to, I bring this up every time we talk about it, but the pervasive fear among, really, it's mostly people in the mainstream media and Democratic commentary circles. Now we're seeing, I'm seeing article after article, and like The Atlantic ran a whole issue on the threat of Trump in 2024, the demagoguery, the retribution, the idea he will come for the people who are in power now. It's like, okay, but if you even want to step into the shoes of how a Republican or a Trump supporter thinks about this, the way they think about this is that Trump has been subjected to an unprecedented level of retribution himself. We've taken a step never before taken in that he's facing criminal prosecutions in 4 separate jurisdictions. They try to keep him off the ballot. Some groups are trying to do that. Their elaborate lengths are being taken by law enforcement, by activists, by various figures to thwart Trump, not to stop people from voting for him, but to actually make it impossible for him to be even voted for, to be a free man. Now, you can say all that is justified and it's all correct based on what he has done, but you can't say it's never appropriate for some kind of action to be taken against government officials, given that they're doing that to him right now.
Yeah, I think that's right. But I also think that Donald Trump, being the guy who coined the term lock her up and having people chant about imprisoning Hillary Clinton as his rallies, doesn't have a lot of good faith to go on when he criticizes that kind of action. Now, he chose ultimately not to do it. Or maybe there wasn't anything that they could get to criminally implicate Hillary Clinton. I don't know which one of those things is true. But at the very least rhetorically, Donald Trump doesn't exactly have clean hands here. But to your earlier point about Hannity kind of leading Donald Trump along the primrose path, it is interesting that this is framed as a town hall because, as I understand it, no questions were actually asked from the audience. It felt like more of a Hannity interview in front of a live audience. It was also pre-taped, so that also gives you the ability, I don't know the extent to which this did or didn't happen, but it gives you the ability to edit as well. And this being kind of put forward as counter-programming to the actual Republican debates that are happening tonight, it's interesting to juxtapose the debate, which is supposed to be an opportunity for people to think on their feet, to respond to questions they don't know that are coming, although down in Brazil, 2016, that whole scandal. Sometimes the candidates do know the questions are coming.
Some of the candidates.
The establishment candidates know the questions are coming. But ostensibly, this is supposed to be an opportunity to see how your potential president is going to respond to things on the fly and act in an executive capacity. At a certain point, is Donald Trump undermining his own case by participating in these very staged events that are going to be contrasted with, I think, a lot more excitement around the debate tonight?
I mean, theoretically, but it's not having any effect on who Republicans want to be their nominee. They want it to be Trump. They love Trump. There's not substantial dissent. I mean, there are plenty of Republicans who think Trump would be not the best candidate to put forth, but they don't feel that way so strongly for there to be a majority. There's not a majority. The majority wants Trump, and so they're going to get him. And that's where we are. And he doesn't have to show up to any debates. He's not going to show up to the debate tonight that's being hosted by News Nation, our friends at News Nation. Megyn Kelly's going to be there, his old foe from one of the Republican debates in 2016. And it would be great entertainment on TV if he was there, but he feels no need to feud with Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis in person. He's, free to. I don't know that he said that much about Nikki Haley. He said a lot about DeSantis, obviously. It'll be interesting to see if his focus shifts now that Nikki Haley is becoming more of the dominant non-Trump alternative. There's been some rallying behind her recently.
Look, maybe if she cracks 15%. Remember, I got to mention this, that Marianne Williamson just had one of her best poll days. I think maybe the highest she's ranked so far at 14%. That's higher than Ron DeSantis is performing, and all the other candidates are performing against Trump in the Republican primary. And that is with a complete media blackout and not a single town hall, mainstream interview, sit down, one-on-one. I mean, Gavin Newsom's gotten more presidential treatment than Marianne Williamson has, and she's still performing better than these other Republican candidates are against Trump. It's kind of remarkable.
Yeah, maybe Trump will get together with Don Lemon and they can talk about how Nikki Haley is a little past her prime to be running for president. That does it for us for today. Tomorrow on Rising, we'll, of course, be reacting to this wonderful debate on News Nation. You won't want to miss it. Hosted by our dear friends and sister networker. I don't know what gender the network has. I shouldn't assume it. My apologies.
All right. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while you're on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Fare thee well.
Bye-bye.